Everybody knows that the bird is the word. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. It is 2:22 p.m. Pacific time. That makes it 5:22 p.m. Eastern time. And this is the Anthem podcast coming to you live from coast to coast from high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California.
We welcome you all. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah.
We started off last week's show with a rest in peace to Adam West, because that had just happened prior to recording. And I would like to share a little bit more about that, because this week we went out and saw City Hall get lit up with the bat signal.
First of all,
in honor of Adam West.
Huge props to future presidential candidate and most likely future president, Eric Garcetti.
Yeah.
Garcetti.
Eric.
Eric? Isn't that what I said? I said Eric.
I thought you said Aaron.
Eric Garcetti, not Tommy Garcetti, who already ran for president back in 2016 and got knocked out after Iowa.
Who are you voting for? I'm independent.
But yeah, no. So future president Eric Garcetti, who is currently the LA mayor. I'm sure that wasn't his idea. I'm sure it was somebody in the office. But huge props to him for doing that.
I was a little bit curious though, like what. I mean, not to minimize Adam West or his lovely career, right, or the fact that his death allowed them to do something like this, but I wonder, like, will something like this have to happen for every celebrity now? I
don't think so. I think that Adam West was not a lifetime, but a lifelong
Angelino.
Yeah. And he was a famous Angelino for what it's worth. He came out and he supported a lot of charities, including the police in Los Angeles, which, but I think the other part of that is Los Angeles City Hall was the basis for Gotham City Hall. So I think that's where the connection comes in.
Yeah.
Like that Gothic style Los Angeles City Hall building, just there's something about seeing that.
It's Art Deco, by the way. Yeah.
It's not Art Deco.
Yeah.
It's Victorian Gothic. But Art Deco is where they put like all of the little the stuff in it. That's like what the what 7E or 10E is, and that's a Art Deco building.
Keep talking. I'll look it up.
I think it's Victorian Gothic. But nonetheless, the style of the building was stylized in the comics, and there was something magical about having the 1960s original like Adam West bat signal just pop up on it. And they had a very awesome ceremony. They had Burt Ward, who was the original, or who was Adam West's Robin, come out and say a few words, and the family members come out and say a few words. And the mayor said some things. It was a very sweet ceremony, and it was celebrating the life of a guy who, as we talked about last week, really got to live two careers. He had an early film and television career, which really wasn't validated until much later. Like Batman, the campy show, was kind of wasn't lauded when it came out, and then it found a home amongst nerds later. For then him to have a second career as this voiceover actor, which is really how we all knew him. More famously as the voice on Family Guy, specifically what we talked about last week. But it was a very sweet ceremony, and I'm glad that we were able to go out there. And we have some guests in town this week, and it was really good that we got to take them out and have them see hey, this is kind of what we do. This is like an Angelino thing to do.
Yeah.
And they brought out the guy from the Hollywood Walk of Fame, who got to talk about when Adam West got his star on the Walk of Fame back in 2012. All in all, just a fantastic event. If you want to see a really epic video, make sure you follow at Robert N. Cheek on Instagram. Scroll back a few pictures, and you can see a video from the lighting where I caught the moment of dark building to stark bat signal and then cheer from the crowd. I think it was fantastic. So,
by the way, Los Angeles City Hall, out and about the Art Deco design of Los Angeles City Hall. So,
wait, what website did you pull that from?
I Googled.
Well, Google's never wrong about anything, so certainly nothing as important as the artistic style of architecture.
Glam Ammer.
Okay. Sure. I'll concede the point for this. I mean, I need somebody, as much as I joke about being able to handle this. Okay, sure.
I mean, there goes the Rob's never wrong thing.
Anyway. So it's... Where were we? So talking about Adam West. It was a fantastic event. Corey led us in a snake style, these 5 people down, closer.
Okay, so real quick, when you're trying to get as close to the front of a crowd as you possibly can, there's no direct route.
Right.
You have to figure out the little crevices because I mean, like, I feel like if Rachel was leading the crowd, we'd be on that second level of Grand Park.
If Rob was leading the crowd, we would have been on the second level because I want to be just there to see it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get close enough that we could really understand everything that was going on.
Yeah. I mean, we could hear a little bit.
Right.
It wasn't.
And ironically, Burt Ward, way better public speaker. In some ways than Eric Garcetti. Like, he was projecting and we could hear everything.
Well, he's got a actor's background, so he knows how to play to
a crowd.
Yeah.
So, and we were hoping that we would be able to show the guests some stars. I don't think we really saw any stars down there. Another lesson from
LA.
Burt
Ward, kinda.
Yeah. Another lesson from LA. People will just sit at home and watch it.
Yeah.
They don't come out for anything.
Right.
But I did get vindicated on the everything in LA starts 10 to 15 minutes late.
Yeah.
Because the event was scheduled to start at 9. And as per usual, Rachel was freaking out that we weren't going to leave on time enough to arrive there at 9. And I said, no. There's no way it starts at 9. 9:10 maybe, and at 9:11 Eric Garcetti comes down the stairs to start the event. So everything in LA always 10 to 15 minutes late.
I'd also like to point out one other thing about the event.
Okay.
Something that I found pretty interesting. Like when we go to Yankee Stadium to watch the Orioles-Yankees game, and the Yankee crowd all cheers at the same time because something happened,
right?
And you get caught up in the idea of the applause. And like you just go for it. Like everyone else is applauding, so then you're just like, "Oh shit, that was an Aaron Judge home run. Why am I applauding that? Why am I doing that?"
Go ahead.
Yeah. There was a moment where Eric Garcetti introduced the police chief, and then there's Rob just applauding along.
That's not exactly what happened.
LAPD commissioner.
Not exactly what happened.
And then I was just like, "Why were you applauding the police chief?" And you're just like.
And
then you sat on the hands for the rest of
what you're not accurately portraying is that I had taken an Instagram photo and then an Instagram day video, again at Robert and Cheek on Instagram if you're looking for a follow, and then I wasn't paying attention to what he said, but having been on stage before, having been an actor, having been a public figure before, I always want to clap for people when they're coming up to perform. But some people don't get the applause. You're just not going to get it. So I'm absentmindedly updating Instagram, and I just hear the introduction, and I do the chest clap because I have the thing in my hand. And I do only 4. And I look up, and I see who's approaching the stage, and I'm like, oh, fuck this guy. And I go back to my phone. And you thought that I just got wrapped up in a moment of applause, but it was really that I wasn't paying attention to who I was applauding.
Yeah.
Right. Much like if I was walking down the street and someone was like, hey, stop. I would actually stop and then turn around and see it was a police officer and be like, hey, go fuck yourself, before I continued walking. Whereas if I turned around and saw it was you, I'd be like, oh, hey, and stop and be like, oh, hey, what's up? And then come the direction that you were calling me.
Figure it out.
Just because I'm not paying very good attention and I comply or applaud a member of the law enforcement community does not mean
it's not a what do you call it? It's not an acknowledgement or...
I was not paying good enough attention, and that is my fault. And I will make extra sure this week to be judgmental on the LAPD, just so I can make up for those 4 chest applauses during the presentation.
Well, good. So, that's probably for the best.
And I will say that it's a good thing that we did get some applause out at City Hall for Adam West, because we've been watching a few Orioles games this week, and not a lot to applaud for as far as that's concerned.
No, I mean, thank God the game that is happening currently at the moment, I believe, is still not out of hand yet.
We turned off the game to record.
Yeah,
so
we've been recording here for about 15 minutes.
No, about 8 minutes. So this thing could have gotten out of hand.
No, but I'm saying like the actual record time has been
15.
15. So let's just take a quick. Oh, now it's 9-3. Okay, so they're coming back a little bit, but the Orioles have been putrid. To use a word. Now,
and I don't know if everybody knows that you have a celebratory thing that you do here in the apartment that we haven't talked about before.
Yeah, so I picked it up from my grandmother. She used to have a little at the retirement community where she was at. She had this little shelf on the outside of the door.
Okay.
And residents would put like flowers or like a teddy bear or something like there to like celebrate whatever is
little
important
events.
to them. Yeah. My grandmother had a Oriole bird, stuffed Oriole bird.
Okay.
Forever. And she would always position the bird depending on how they were doing.
Okay.
So if you win, you get the Oriole bird facing out towards all the people.
Okay.
If the Orioles lose, the bird faces the wall. If they win like 5 in a row, they're really hot, the bird's on his head facing out towards the people. If it's really bad, he's on his head facing towards the wall. That's basically the shorthand.
He has spent a lot of time.
He's been on his head facing the wall quite a bit recently.
Unfortunately. So we were doing really well. I mean, we haven't really checked in with the Orioles on the podcast in a few weeks, but they were doing really well last time we checked in. Mm-hmm. In a race for first place. The bats were hot.
Yeah, we had the best record in baseball for a little while there.
It was fantastic. But that has fallen off a lot since then. So we are now, I think 32 and 34 coming into this game. Mm-hmm. After the loss last night to St. Louis, the 9-1 loss, is that what it was?
11-2 or something.
11-2. And it doesn't matter what the exact score was because in the end, it was that bad, and it has been that bad. The road trip to New York, just 16-1,
oh, God.
13-4.
The thing too was that there was points during the game where it looked like we were, we'd be down like 7-5 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, it's okay. We're still in this. There's no reason the Orioles can't slug their way out of this situation.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just comes unraveled because the bullpen's all worked up and
they put Baldo in there for some reason.
Starters can't keep getting innings, and it's just terrible. And the bats were dead.
And I thought we had worked on the pitching situation in the offseason.
And nothing's more embarrassing to me, honestly, than when the bats aren't, when nobody's hitting.
Oh, yeah.
When it's constantly across the, I mean, like if it's one person who's hitting, but everyone else is like losing it, then I'm a little bit more.
Just waiting for them to get in.
Yeah, just waiting for them all to get together. But it's like 1 through 9, everyone was terrible.
Yeah.
Except for Boom Boom.
Well, and it's the lesson that, one, Trey doesn't play every day.
Yeah.
So
I mean, now he does.
Well, the worse we got, you started to see him play more and more. But I mean, he wasn't playing every day. So even you'd see the lineup and not see him not in there and be like, all right, well, I guess nothing's getting done today.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that Trumbo pulls out of his 1 for 55 slip that he's had and 1 for 34 getting a RBI. But there wasn't a lot of things to cheer for over the past few weeks. And we've slipped from the best record in baseball, racing for the first place in the East, to the cellar in the East. But listen to me, Orioles fans. I know what your initial reaction is going to be. Let's calm down. It's June.
By the way, we were, up until like 4 days ago, still in the wild card. We still had the second wild card spot, despite how terrible it was. The AL East is a really good division.
Right.
We are really terrible right now, but that doesn't mean we're going to be terrible forever.
Right.
And I think that I don't want to so it's a lot like my fantasy team. I know people hate hearing about fantasy, but let me say this right now. I'm still currently in the playoff race.
Okay.
Early in the season.
Everybody is.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm the top 6 make the playoffs. I'm in 7th right now.
Okay.
So I'm still right in there. And I have some injuries, and I'm not playing the optimal lineup because I got a lot of injured people on the bench.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like you say to yourself, okay, over the course of the season, this is going to correct itself. I'm going to have healthy people. I can change the lineup more efficiently. Mm-hmm. But right now, I just sort of have to live with
what it is.
Yeah. Because I know that this team is good enough. The team I've put together is good enough. And in the end, it'll be okay. That's the same sort of situation you have to have with the Orioles. Right now, everything seems terrible. Right now, I hear people trade Manny, trade Britton, fire Buck, all these things.
Calm the fuck down, people.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Listen, if you want to trade Manny like next year, like when it's not.
If we're out of it,
if we're out of it, you're not going to re-sign him. Like,
or we're going to try to, but there's no way we're going to outbid the $400 million offer.
Or there's no way we're going to win this season. Like, if they were just like, 20 games back come the trade deadline next year, then yes, feel free.
But you don't have hope that they're going to re-sign him?
I mean, I think they will make more of a concerted effort to try and sign him than they have anybody else.
Right.
In the history of the franchise, really.
Because he's a franchise player. He's the franchise player. Since Cal Ripken Jr., there has not been a player that is...
The worry I have with someone like Machado is not that... I feel like the Orioles probably have their top-end offer already in their head. Like, we're not going to pay more than $45 million a year, and we're not going to do it for more than...
6 years.
Let's say 8 years, just for a number, right?
God, that is a big number.
Oh, I know.
$45 million for 8 years.
Ooh. Or 30 for 8 or whatever, wherever their line is. They have it in their head. Like, I'm just like if you go to Vegas.
Right.
I'm not going to lose more than this $200 that I have.
Yeah.
If you get close to the $200 and you still want to play, then maybe you extend it a little bit. Like, I'm going to go $215 or $220.
That ain't how Rob gambles.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like you're definitely not going too much further than $200.
Okay.
Because you set out beforehand, you're not going to do that. Now the question is, are the Orioles willing to far exceed what they imagine they're going to spend if somebody comes out of nowhere and fucking not even that. Like, remember when Josh Hamilton signed with the Angels?
True.
And nobody thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, what kind of money is that? Like, where'd they get that? This is the same sort of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if some team that you wouldn't have expected just throws out some preposterous amount of money on Manny Machado.
And then builds it.
10 years, $500 million contract to sign Manny. And now he's playing in Colorado. And you're like...
They build a team around him with younger players. Because you spend the nut on Manny and then hope that you can get a draft class or some minor league players to build a team around him for cheap. And then maybe do a 97 Marlins.
And I don't know where Manny stands. I mean, like I don't know him that well, so I don't know if he's.
You guys aren't close personal friends.
No, I mean, like we see each other from time to time. I wave hi, but like we don't text or anything.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I think that I would like to imagine that winning is somewhat important to him in the sense that he's going to want to. Continue on winning teams and have a chance at winning a championship. But maybe money's the bottom line. And if that's the case, then the Orioles are going to have a harder time putting together an offer that'll keep him.
I don't really think that the winning team argument right now is a good argument for the Orioles.
Well, no, but I mean, like, they have been a winning team. Like, at the end of the season, if we're
in a position,
if we're close enough, then I think that people are going to.
Fair enough. I do want to take a couple of minutes, too, and talk about the NBA Finals, which ended this week. Now, I think my position on the NBA has been well-versed. I am a fan. Mm-hmm. I enjoy live basketball. When we went to Miami and saw the game there, when we came and saw the game at the Staples Center with the Clippers, I enjoyed it. But the finals just didn't appeal to me. I don't think I watched any of the finals game except for maybe
that last quarter of game.
When I came home, it was already on.
Yeah,
that game, whatever that was. But it was once again the Cavaliers and the Lakers, or
Cavaliers and the Lakers.
Golden State Warriors and the Cavaliers, and they are building a Lakers Celtics kind of rivalry, or even like a Lakers Heat rivalry. Yeah, it's been 3 years of the same two teams in the finals.
Yeah, but the NBA is just not the same league it is anymore.
Okay.
I mean, it's way more from the time we were 10 until now.
No, right, so that was 1994 until now. Yeah.
No league has changed more than the NBA.
Sure. When you see LeBron pick up the ball at half court and walk it in for a slam dunk.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no other than the Yankees and Red Sox for a couple years there, where it was all about the Yankees and Red Sox. They were the only two teams anyone ever wanted to play for. All the big free agents found their way there, and those two teams could support humongous payrolls.
Right.
there's never been more about stacking teams like there is in the NBA currently.
Yeah, and by the way, the Golden State and Cleveland and the Celtics and the Lakers are all trying to position to get into the top 5 of the draft. 2 teams that made the playoffs didn't go to the finals, obviously, and the 2 teams that ended up in the finals. So
the Lakers have the number 2 pick,
right? But
because they were terrible this year.
Maybe it's that Golden State is trying to maneuver with the Lakers to get the number 2 pick.
Oh God, I don't even know what kind of trade you possibly pull for that.
Send Kevin Durant to L.A.
Yeah, but he's a free agent.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe not then. All I know is that you have the 2 teams who are in the finals, and typically, obviously, the way the draft works is they draft last because they did as well. But when you're talking about stacking teams, those teams, instead of just saying, look at what we got, we're in a good position, they're making moves to get to the top of the draft class because they want to stack the team even further. And for as cheap as possible. Everybody wants to get LeVon Ball or whatever his name is.
Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo Ball. Yeah.
LeVar is his father.
Is that who? Yeah, I knew that. I knew it was LeVar something. Anyway, but yeah, but the teams really are, it's feast or famine.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have Kevin Durant who in Jordan's 93 NBA, Kevin Durant and the Thunder would have been competitors. You have one solid player.
They would have been the Rockets.
The Hakeem Olajuwon Rockets are Kevin Durant and the Thunder.
Right.
But he cannot compete in the 2016 NBA. You have to have a stacked team.
And not only that, if Jordan was a player today, then Jordan's Bulls would have 3 of the best 10 players in the league.
True.
I mean, because there's no other way to compete other than that.
Right.
So, it would be putting it in context of the players that used to come before. It would be like Jordan and Clyde Drexler and Charles Barkley on a team together.
Right.
And it's unfair when you have those 3 players.
And I mean, that's the thing. Is like for older people like us, imagine that team. It's the USA Olympic team.
Yeah.
Playing in the NBA.
I mean, so legitimately with the Warriors, you have 3 of the top, arguably 15 players in the league.
Right.
Between Steph and Durant and Kurt and Klay Thompson.
Right.
So, there's no other team that's ever, other than LeBron's Miami Heat team.
Right.
And I think it was hilarious when, after he lost the finals, he's up on the press conference dais going, I don't think I've ever played for a super team. It's like, really? Really?
You mean the team that you're on right now?
The team you just left to come back home and act like a big, tremendous... By the way, just one other thing before we move on. I have nothing but respect for the way that LeBron James plays. I think he's an incredible athlete, blah, blah, blah. I just really do not like LeBron James.
As a person.
Yeah. I don't like it. I feel like everything is like jaded behind some sort of like algorithm that somebody came up with to make his career as popular and as financially fruitful as possible.
For him or for somebody else?
For him.
Okay.
Like, it's all about LeBron. There's no...
See, but then you see his performance in that movie with Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is he that guy when he's not like on the court? And I wonder if there's an NBA personality LeBron and an everybody else LeBron.
I don't think LeBron can really have like an every... He's at that level like... LeBron can't come here and just walk into Grand Central Market and buy a sandwich and be left alone.
He is 6 foot.
Well, no, but I'm saying like he's gonna. People are gonna notice him, and people are gonna bother him, and people are gonna like.
But if there's a city where he could do that, this is the city where he could do that because it's like, oh, it's LeBron. Yeah, but I mean, we saw football player yesterday.
Like once you get to that level of fame,
like
there is no. Like the celebrities talk about it in the terms of like the forever loneliness of just having to stay home all the time.
Right.
Like,
it sounds so fantastic.
Brad Pitt can't go to the store just to pick up something.
I want to be a star so bad. Not because of the stardom, just for the
not because of the adoration of the public. You just want to be home by yourself
all the time. Just be like, have an excuse to like not want to go out. But like, hey man, I'd really like to come out to your thing.
Send somebody else out.
But I'd love to come to your thing. But I mean, we both know what's going to happen. Like,
if I go, then
it's going to turn into a whole thing, and I really just don't want to do that to you or me, really. So
yeah.
I think I'll just sit this one out, though. Thanks for the invite.
Next time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But, I get that. But when you're at home, when LeBron is at home and he's looking at his receding hairline in the mirror and he's playing with his kids.
Yeah.
You don't think he's that guy from the movie? He's just laid back and joking with his friends.
I'm sure there is. And I've heard nothing but nice things about him, like personally speaking.
You just don't like that public persona of LeBron.
I don't like the calculated nature of LeBron.
Okay.
I think that's the problem. Like Steph Curry to me seems like he's a good guy and he's a family guy and blah blah blah. But if a decision comes up in his life, he just sort of takes it as he can.
Right.
Whereas like LeBron James probably has like a tribunal of people who make decisions for him.
Okay.
Like he's probably has like a table of 20 people who are all like expert marketers and
should I get the hair plug? Should I not get the hair plug?
Yeah, it's
let's
like,
talk about it.
Let's put it around the tribunal, and everybody goes like, well, I would say that people have had noticed there's an increase in memes of your hair loss.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Google Trends right now, and LeBron James is trending upward. I don't know. I'm not. I don't like it. I think that Jordan was more of a competitor at the very heart of it. All Jordan cared about was competing, and LeBron seems to be more about the business of LeBron.
And in a way, though, he has to do that though, because maybe do you hate that he's just better at it than other people are?
No. And listen, this is more of a thing about the current state of the NBA than it is about LeBron personally. Yeah. LeBron is the guy who has the entire package and is put in a position where he's able to do this. Not that he's, therefore more special or like
he's not a bad person for doing it. He's a bad person.
He's taking advantage of the situation he's been put in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically where I stand.
Well, speaking of taking advantage of people, Bill Cosby's trial ended unfortunately in a mistrial this week. Today, actually, I was going to say just today. And so if you haven't heard about the Cosby trial, push the rock off of you.
Yeah, first off, welcome to 2017.
Boy, do we have some surprises for you. Not only was Cliff Huxtable. That's the name.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Heathcliff Huxtable, otherwise known as Cliff, Dr. Huxtable, on trial for sexual assault and drugging a girl.
Mm-hmm.
The guy from The Apprentice is president. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
2017 has been a little crazy. And Wonder Woman is the best DC movie in our generation.
Ever.
I don't even know how to explain. But anyway, back to Cosby. So the news about Cosby broke earlier this afternoon.
Oh yeah, apparently the U.S. Open golf is happening right now, as the Alliance points out.
Who cares? Sorry, golf fans, but who cares?
I mean, I'll play some golf.
Oh yeah, no, but if
I'll take my trusted hand wedge out and
listen
and play some golf.
If you're stuck in a sand trap, and you think it's going to take you more than one stroke to get out, just take the one stroke penalty with the hand wedge and get her up on the green. But anyway, that's how we play. Keep the beer in one hand and then the hand wedge in the other. Throw her up onto the green. So basically, Anthem Alliance is making some comments. Corey sounds like Jigsaw. That's just his laugh. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I can't do anything about that.
I don't know what's happening.
But So Bill Cosby's trial ended in a mistrial, not for anything that was inappropriate, although I was convinced that during the course of the trial that was going to happen. There was a lot of pretrial motions about we can bring this up, we can't bring this up.
Well, the defense kept bringing up mistrials throughout the case.
Right.
Like they kept going like, well, this is going to end in a mistrial.
And they made two motions in front of the jury, which you're not supposed to do. And I don't know how you penalize someone for requesting a mistrial in front of the jury, because technically that you don't want to reward them with a mistrial because they're now getting what they're asking for because they did it inappropriately. But you can't be like, okay, no, guilty, because the lawyer there's no real penalty for it, and I hate that. But
yeah,
his lawyer, I think, was convinced that based on what the evidence that was presented, that the state was walking a very fine line of bringing in evidence they weren't supposed to bring in. But What the state was doing is saying the court allowed this witness to testify. They are testifying to only things that they know. And if they happen to testify about, something else that they also know, well, we're not bringing in that witness that's barred. We're talking about this witness that's allowed. And should it have been a mistrial? Maybe.
Yeah.
But
also when you're talking about a case that has this much money spent on it and this much publicity, like it's not like if I went to fight a jaywalking ticket or something like that.
Right.
I mean, not like that would get a jury trial, but
I don't know. The way I do it, it would.
but at that point, you have, if you have a jury trial on something small and there's a mistrial, it's no big deal.
Right.
Like you just sort of start over.
But I think they've spent like $30 million thus far. And most of that is going to, the prosecutor said he's going to retry. So most of that money gets essentially like saved up to be used again.
I feel like I don't know exactly because I'm sort of out of this part of the thing, but I've heard a lot of the prosecutor or the state's attorney has been mostly using this case as a means for him to get into office and therefore...
Yeah, so the end result is that the prosecutor who was in office said that he reviewed the case and didn't find there to be enough evidence to move forward. And then during an election, the challenger said, if you put me into office, I will put Bill Cosby on trial. And they voted him in, so he put him on trial.
Yeah.
And that is some of the allegations of mistrial, or that the prosecutor is pursuing it a little more doggedly than he might, because much like Trump, he's trying to get this campaign promise pushed through at all costs. But in the end, it went to the jury. The jury deliberated for 53 hours, I think, which means not 53 total hours, but they were in the jury room for 53 hours. And can you imagine being in a room smaller than your bedroom with 15 other people for 53 hours and just arguing and splitting 7-3 or 7-5?
I can figure sitting in a room for 53 hours arguing, because that was basically episode 165 of the podcast or 166 of the podcast.
Yes, that was. And if you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you do check out episode 166, the sessions, which is a little bit deceiving as a title, because the part you really want to check out is starting at about minute 53, where we went on an hour tirade about the topless sunbathing law in Ocean City now. And if you have gotten into a discussion on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or in public with your friends about topless sunbathing, one of the arguments you have made or someone has made to you was presented in that discussion. It was wide-ranging, and we went across all the topics. And in the end, we found out that Corey thinks that women are second-class citizens, and he doesn't want them to have rights. So,
moving on.
# socially acceptable sexism.
Moving on. So they're gonna try and retry this, right?
So basically, what the prosecutor found is that when he polled, that I believe it was 7-5 guilty, and he had all of the women and 2 of the men, and the men who weren't with him were older and white, older and white. So it was like, that's Cliff Huxtable's, Bill Cosby's like wheelhouse. So now he knows when picking a jury that you're not going to get the older white guys. The guys who lived through the 70s, where they're like, sometimes you give a girl some drugs, and if she doesn't handle them well, she came to party. So it is what it is. Like, that's not who you want on your jury. More women is probably going to help. A younger male crowd is probably going to help. But I don't know that they're ever going to get a conviction. That's the problem. Because I think it's the kind of thing. Because, again, by the way, this is not a charge from the 70s. This is a recent charge within the last 10 years. So it's not as if it was he did this a long time ago. This is recent, and it's about looking at him and saying, he's a guy I remember, and he's really just doing stuff that he knew or he's been doing for a long time. And, look at him now. He's blind and he's old. And do I want to send him to jail for a long time? And that's not supposed. And for the young girl who this happened to, the victim, is she just supposed to be like, oh, well,
yeah,
I guess I'll live with it, you know, like. But there's no vindication for anyone, and the prosecutor says he's going to take it back to trial within 120 days. So we'll still be here, and I guess we'll be talking about that trial. Hopefully, at that time, we'll get a verdict, whether it's a guilty or a not guilty. And, I'm not leaning either way. Let justice be done. One way or the other.
I mean, if the jury finds me innocent, then the jury finds him innocent. There's not really, at the end of the day, you have to let the actual game play out in front of you. Like,
exactly.
You can't, it's like one of those, like, well, I think the Orioles should beat the Cardinals, but you play the game to find out.
Now, I don't always have that opinion, because another verdict that came out this week was in the shooting of Philando Castile. In that case, the officer was found not guilty of all charges, and I think you should burn the city down, just so that's clear. Utterly ridiculous that they did not find him guilty, that a majority white jury did not find the police officer guilty of anything in the shooting of Philando Castile.
The one that I particularly agree with you on, not that I don't think that he should have been guilty of murder or anything like that, but the endangerment of a child, which just seems easy enough. I mean,
So, and to review, if you guys don't remember the case, Philando Castile is driving a car. His girlfriend is in the car beside him. His daughter is behind his girlfriend. He gets pulled over by an officer. It's the 44th time he was pulled over in 12 months. 44 times in 12 months. Like, imagine living that life.
No arrests or convictions or anything.
No tickets, no nothing.
Over. Yeah.
Just getting pulled over, driving while black, looking for a violation. So he gets pulled over. The officer asks him if he has any guns in the car. He answers honestly and says yes, and that he has a concealed carry permit. He is a legal gun owner in the state of Minnesota, and he has the permit on him. And the officer says, don't pull the gun out. He says, I'm not going to pull the gun out. His girlfriend says, he's not going to pull the gun out. Like, everybody is...
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene from... I can't remember, but they're like, just be cool. We're going to be cool. Oh, it's a Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Everybody be cool. Oh, we're going to be cool. You cool? I'm cool. We're all cool. All right. Like, that's the scene in the car. And then he asks Philando to get his wallet. And he reaches for his wallet, and then he shoots him 7 times. Now, this is the case where you said that although you don't agree with me in all police shootings, because again, as we talked about in, I think, episode 164, you guys should go back to otheanthem.com, youtube.com/otheanthem. Check out the old episodes. They're all available there. But in episode 164, we got into a discussion about the LAPD shooting someone from a helicopter, and whether or not that was ever okay. And we had a big discussion about the police ever using deadly force against someone.
And I think that's an example of where you can say different people will have different opinions on what's acceptable and what's not.
Sure. But even you, the huge police apologist, think that Philando Castile is a case of unjustified use of force.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, this doesn't... This is one of those examples where you would this is like a hypothetical you would make up to somebody who is talking about, like, well, you're always out for the police. And it's like, all right, well, what if a police officer pulled over somebody and they had they said they had a concealed carry permit, and the police said, like, don't pull out the gun. And he's like, I'm not gonna pull out the gun, just be cool. And he's like, and then the police officer asks for the license, and when he reaches for the license, he shoots him several times. He'd be like, well, that wouldn't happen. Like, the person who's the police apologist who you bring the situation up to would be like, well, that wouldn't happen. That's ridiculous. That's not. But no.
Never happened. Never going to happen. No.
There would have to be some sort of clear and present danger as to why this didn't.
Right. Now, and keep in mind, for those of you who haven't seen the video, the moment that he says he has a gun, the officer draws his weapon and he's pointing it at him.
Yeah.
And then they have a discussion, and everybody's like, be cool. I'm not going to pull it out. He's not going to pull it out. Yeah, well, we're all good. And he says, get it. They have several moments more of discussion before he says, get the wallet.
Yeah.
Now, the reason...
But not that much. Because I seem to remember from cherries to shots, it was like 48 seconds or something like that.
It was very, very, very short exchange. But the thing that we were talking about at the beginning of this that is even more disturbing is that, again, his daughter is behind him in the back seat.
Yeah.
And the officer shoots him 7 times, hits him 4, shoots at him 7 times and hits him 4. But he doesn't get convicted of endangering a child when they say, 1, the shooting is not justified. despite that, we're not going to convict you of murder. But the 3 bullets that didn't hit him at point blank range from less than 3 feet away did not endanger the child who was sitting behind him in the back seat.
Yeah.
I just can't wrap my mind around what this jury was thinking when they let him off, except that some of you people out there just think that the police can do no wrong, that when they put on a blue uniform and we give them a gun and we give them a badge, that everything that they do should be justified. And my message to you is, what are you possibly thinking? Do you want fascism? Because that's how you get fascism. Because there was a ton of people, and I'm going to break Godwin's law. Here we go.
Yeah.
There was a ton of people sitting around Germany saying, well, things are a little better off and I feel safe and they're not bothering me. So as long as they're not bothering me, maybe it should be all right. You know what I mean? Like, the Nazis are bad guys, but, they put on a uniform, they go out there and they do the work that I don't want to do. So
yeah.
You don't want to live in that world, because as Philando Castile's mother said on the steps of the courthouse after finding out that the man who killed her son, her son who was gave back to his community, who was beloved at the school where he worked at, who was the father of a daughter and the fiance of a fiance,
Fiance of a woman,
and just generally a great guy and an upstanding citizen who followed all the laws that he could possibly follow. As his mother said, if this can happen to him, it can happen to you.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care any of those things. Yes, he was black. And yes, he lived in Minnesota. And maybe those are 2 factors that contributed to 1, him being shot, and 2, the police officer not being convicted. But I run my mouth to police officers pretty fucking often. And at some point, that is going to overwhelm the whiteness of my skin.
Yeah.
And will the officer be convicted if he shoots me? Well, there's going to be a lot of videotape evidence played at trial. Hello, everyone at the police officer's trial. Please convict this motherfucker. I just realized that probably got beeped out. But yeah. Okay, anyway. Please send him to jail for the rest of his natural life or to the chair, depending on what state the trial's in.
Yeah, but not California, obviously.
No, California wouldn't be able to do that. But yeah, no, I don't. I just don't understand the people who are like vindicated when they see that this. Listen, I get Darren
Wilson.
Was it Darren Wilson? Yeah, Darren Wilson. Because you and I disagree about Mike Brown. I get some of the Tamir Rice. Don't get that at all. 12-year-old boy standing in a park, shot within 3 seconds of the police arriving. Don't get that. But the people who defend Tamir Rice shooters and Philando Castile shooters and Eric Gardner's chokers.
The one. Here's my line essentially. If you can make the I was talking about Harambe recently.
Yeah.
In that situation, it's one of those you're damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. If you shoot the gorilla, then you're gonna get in a lot of shit for shooting the gorilla.
Right.
If you don't shoot the gorilla and the gorilla kills the kid, then you're gonna get in just as much shit for not shooting the gorilla.
Right.
So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're in a police situation where it's this guy is running around downtown firing off guns at random at, people just walking by.
Right.
Then the police can't say well, we can't shoot him, because if he continues killing people, then people are going to be like, why didn't the cop shoot him?
Right.
But if the cop shoot him, then people are going to say, why did the cop shoot him? I know that's a big example, but that's one of those ones where you can't, it's a little bit harder for someone like you to explain why you can't shout the suspect.
Sure.
There's more reason behind it.
I mean, I could still argue it, but yes,
I know, but I'm saying it's more difficult to argue.
But
I think that part of the problem is that we're creating the circumstances by which you are allowed to shoot a suspect after the fact in a lot of these cases.
Yes.
Which is way different. Freddie Gray didn't do anything prior to.
He ran from the police.
Right. But then after the fact, everyone was just well, Freddie Gray was a drug dealer and Freddie Gray did this and Freddie Gray did that.
Well, it's okay then.
Yeah. I mean, you're coming up with the excuses for why somebody would do something to somebody terrible, quote unquote terrible, after the fact, but you can't justify
that's not how it's supposed to work.
Right.
Again, as a citizen, I don't get the same qualifiers when I do stuff like that. I don't get the justification of like, well, yeah, he did rob that guy, but that guy actually is a really bad dude and he works for the mob. So, I mean, break even? He stole from somebody who stole. So is that even really a robbery? No, yeah. I'm going to jail. That doesn't matter. But when the police do it, when they steal from drug dealers, then it's totally okay. And they ride around in their Escalade and they put on the side of it, this Escalade used to belong to a drug dealer or a boat or a truck or any number of things.
Yeah.
Or they ride up and down the 110 in SWAT vehicles and make me wonder what poor soul is going to be murdered by the police tonight. And by the way, that was my making amends for applauding for the LAPD officer earlier this week. So I'm generally upset. I'm still mulling over. I mean, my initial reaction, my initial thoughts on Twitter, at Robert N. Cheek on Twitter, was, at Founding the Future is where you're going to find these thoughts. At Founding the Future, or at Founding Future, FOUNDINGFUTURE on Twitter, was burn the city down. Don't burn your neighborhoods. Go to the rich white neighborhoods and burn those.
Yeah.
Use Baltimore as an example. That's what you should be doing. Like, do the whole nine. And that's still basically how I feel. In the end, it comes down to we will not find justice in a courtroom. I've lived in courtrooms. I've worked in courtrooms. I know how justice works in courtrooms. There will be no justice in a courtroom for certain people, for certain types of people, and for people who do certain things. There will only be justice in the street. And the question is, when is it going to be enough for all of you to decide that you recognize that only justice can be found in the street and that you need to do something about it? So, but you know who's not going to find justice in the street?
I don't know if I want to answer that. Speaking of last week's episode, let's continue.
By the way, I just want to say, 2 weeks in a row. 1 week, you compare women sunbathing to healthcare, which was odd. The next week, you compare black people getting shot to Harambe. I'm not really sure you are going really hard on these comparisons. Not great.
That was not intentional. Our visitors this week, we were talking about zoos because they're at the zoo right now, and Harambe came up in discussion. And then I made the example then, which is you can't win or can lose in that situation. You can't win in that situation. You can only lose. And now, I don't know. It's fresh on the mind. Anywho.
Hashtag socially acceptable racism. But no, so something new that was announced this week, another courtroom kind of drama, is that Robert Mueller, the special investigator, the special counsel, whatever it is that we're calling him this week, has geared up and the investigation is underway. Now, when we were talking about this topic in the pre-show meeting, you said it's official. Trump is under investigation. Why did you say that?
Because Trump tweeted it. Sounded pretty official to me.
And I love that we don't trust anything Trump says unless it's really about himself. Then you're like, oh, well, I guess certainly this must be absolutely true.
Well, I mean, it's Trump. If Trump said, I have a talking dog that I own and he lives in New York with me, then I would be like, bullshit. Number one, nobody would let you take care of a dog. No. Number two,
he has a kid.
Number two, that dog doesn't count.
Okay.
Number two, that dog doesn't talk. Number three, no dog loves you. Dogs are the most pure, loving things that we have on this earth, and even they have problems with.
I was gonna say, they growl at demons generally. That's my understanding from movies. So I imagine it's a lot of growling in the Trump household.
I was watching the viral video of the week with the English bulldog watching the horror movie. Did you see that one?
No.
So
I don't watch cute puppy videos. I think you should know that about me.
I just thought that maybe in your travels you saw it. The dog is sitting on the bed watching the horror movie, and he's very intent following what's going on. And then the demon comes to go take the girl from the bedroom.
Right.
And then as soon as the demon appears on the screen, the bulldog's like, rah, 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 rah. It's like, then it goes back to the girl and he's just quiet, okay, she's safe. And then the demon on screen is like, bah, 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 bah. It was so good. I like it.
By the way, if anybody wants a peek into what my life is like, that is a perfect example. It's funny fails and cute puppy videos all the time. That's it. Meanwhile, Rob is writing the screenplays that are going to redefine a generation. Corey is watching cute bulldog videos.
I'm a man of simple taste.
Simple something. Anyway, but yeah, so Trump tweeted out that he was on some kind of tweet that he was under investigation. Mm-hmm. But that's because it was leaked. It was leaked from the special counsel's office that they had officially switched to a criminal investigation of Trump for obstruction of justice. Now, I don't think that's actually what's going on. I think what that is it's a chess move. Because earlier in the week, Trump had said that he was considering firing Robert Mueller, which is within his power to do.
Right, but also not a great move.
No, but you know what also isn't a good move?
That's what got Nixon ultimately in trouble, is firing Archibald Cox.
Right. But you know what else wasn't a good move?
Well, actually, to be fair, firing a whole bunch of people until he found somebody who was willing to fire Archibald Cox. That was essentially the...
But no, so also not a good move, firing Comey when he's investigating you.
Yeah.
So let's follow this train of thought. Comey won't stop investigating Trump for Russia, specifically Flynn, but let's call that the Trump administration.
Yeah.
So Trump fires
the Trump
Comey.
Team.
Yeah. So Trump fires Comey. This causes Congress and the Attorney General's office or the Department of Justice to request a special counsel, Robert Mueller, be put in place to do an overall investigation into the Flynn in Russia, but also to see whether Comey's firing was directly related to that investigation.
Yeah.
Because that would be obstruction of justice. Again, Nixon did not really get in trouble for, well, the number one thing he got in trouble for wasn't what happened at the Watergate Hotel. It was the obstruction of justice of the investigation into the Watergate Hotel.
Yeah.
So Trump's first thought is, let's figure out how we can fire the guy who's investigating me for obstruction of justice, which, by the way, boys and girls, would be obstruction of justice again.
Yeah.
So it looked like earlier this week he was setting up Rod Rosenstein, our esteemed
Rosenstein.
Rosenstein?
Yeah.
God, I thought it was Rod Rosenstein because I thought that was an odd name. Why would you name your kid Rod if your last name was Rodstein? Okay, yeah. Rod Rosenstein, our esteemed Attorney General from Baltimore.
Deputy Attorney General, former U.S. Attorney from Baltimore.
Yes. Now acting Attorney General. Current assistant.
No, still deputy.
Yeah, he's deputy, but he's acting Attorney General in Russia case.
Yeah, because Sessions accused him.
Right.
Recused.
So he was positioned, it looked like, by Trump to fire Robert Mueller about midweek because he sent out a memo that said, like, don't believe any leaks if they don't name who they're from. That was in response to a Washington Post article. And then it was like the administration will do what is necessary to make sure that these leaks stop, which looked like it was directed at the Mueller investigation after it was leaked from them that they were looking at Trump for obstruction of justice. And then Trump turns on Rod on Friday and basically says he's doing a horrible job and he doesn't know that he's going to be kept in his position.
Yeah.
So it's like the night of the long knives in the Trump administration. I've used this example before back in the Bush administration of saying that we're in the years of the late Republic of Rome, where there's a Senate and it's doing something, but mostly it's for show. They're not actually doing anything.
Right.
And there's a figurehead who's running the executive, but he's far more of a king than an elected man. And that's what I used for Bush. Little did I know that we would then be followed by Obama, who looks even more like a man of the people, but would, drop a bomb every 20 minutes and kill brown people all around the world and drive us farther in debt and spy on us. And when people do leak information to the public, want to put them in jail and all of these things. Didn't know that was going to happen. And now we have Trump. And so it's just like bad Caesar after bad Caesar after bad Caesar. And now here we are.
Real quick. Just as a side note here, sidebar. Bank of America and Delta pulled their funding of the New York Shakespeare.
Oh, yes.
In the park.
Yes.
For having the Caesar in the show who gets killed. Spoiler alert.
I don't know. Is there really somebody who doesn't know that Caesar gets killed?
But Caesar is essentially Trump in this production.
Because Trump is essentially Caesar in real life.
Yeah. But so everyone gets really upset about this, and they pull Delta and Bank of America pulls funding. Fun fact, that's sort of just been what they do for every Caesar throughout a long ass period of time. Like, they had Obama as Caesar before getting killed.
Yeah.
And nobody complained. And that actually probably was a worse to have the black president get killed.
Yeah.
Would probably be worse. But,
except for they did it for other presidents before that,
right.
too.
So everybody knew the shorthand of it.
Yeah.
Like, the sort of, like, government in general is Caesar. Whoever is the figurehead of this government is Caesar.
Yeah. I think that they went too far when they had him be orange with a blonde wig. Like, they had orange tinted makeup and a blonde. It makes it more farcical, and I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
But it also went public, and nobody cared about it until it went public,
right.
And then everybody has to react. Because we're reactionary now, and I'm burned out on being reactionary.
Yeah.
Like, Sessions testified before Congress this week. We haven't really talked about that. You know why? Because he didn't say shit. Exactly what we kind of said he was going to say last week.
Though, rarely do I find myself saying this out loud.
Oh, God.
But I wish more people, specifically Democratic senators on the Intelligence Committee, would have been more like Jason Chaffetz was.
Oh, you mean when he was investigating Clinton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, real quick, what Sessions was essentially doing when he was up on stand, I watched the whole thing, is that he said, I didn't talk to Trump specifically about every single thing that might come up during this testimony. So I didn't get a chance to talk to him about specific opportunities where he would want to use executive privilege.
Right.
So I am making the decision not to talk about any conversations that we had because he may use executive privilege on it.
And also because attorney-client privilege may apply, which, by the way, it does not. The Attorney General is not the president's lawyer. That's the White House counsel. The Attorney General is the people's lawyer.
Right.
But we seem to have forgotten that.
Regardless, they he kept using this line, well, the president didn't invoke executive privilege, but I'm leaving the possibility for him to do so.
Right. Yeah.
Excuse me. To which a lot of senators said, where is this written?
That you're allowed to do that.
Where are you coming up with the idea that you're allowed to do this? And he says, it's written down somewhere. And then people are like, oh, okay, very well.
So, well, no.
Moving on.
A lot of them said, so you're going to produce that for us. And he's like, well, I don't know that it's in a document that I can produce. It may also be stroked by executive privilege. But if you can, will you produce it? Yeah, the best I can tell you is we'll try.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you compare that to look for Jason Chaffetz during the Clinton investigation.
Yeah.
Where he's like, that's not a good answer. We represent the people. You will answer my question. I just can't do it. All right. Subpoena.
Yeah.
Subpoena will issue.
I have a subpoena right here.
Yeah.
Any one of Kamala Harris could have had a subpoena just drawn up.
Technically not. Only the chairman can actually issue the subpoena.
True, yeah.
But she could have looked at the chairman and said, I would like a subpoena to be issued. And every Democratic senator could have said the same thing. And then when the chairman fails to do that, then the record shows that the chairman failed to do that.
Yeah.
But I will say Kamala Harris is quickly becoming the face of the Democratic Party. And I'm not upset about that. Again, I saw some tweets that said Kamala Harris is quickly becoming the face of the left. Let's be clear. The Democratic Party does not represent the left. The left is people like me.
Or Bernie.
Or
Bernie.
Well, Bernie is further left than the Democratic Party, but he's not where I am on the left.
Yeah.
So if you were looking at a spectrum.
Yeah.
And this is my left, but this is not screen left, right?
Yeah.
And this would be screen left, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So using my half of the screen, not Corey's. This is where I am. And then here's where Bernie is. And then here's where the Democrats are. And then here's where the Republicans are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're left, but they're not the left.
The Democrats, by the way, that you were making notice of was like the Hillary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where the party is now.
Yeah.
And so Kamala Harris is becoming the face of the Democratic Party, and I'm not upset about that. I think that the influences of people like Maxine Waters and people like Bernie, will draw the party back to the left, away from the Clinton Democrats.
What I like about Kamala Harris, as opposed to like Dianne Feinstein, is that she always seems to have an answer for why she's doing something.
Yep.
And Feinstein doesn't.
No, she's like, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, this is what we've decided. The Democratic Tribunal has assembled and decided that this is what we're going to do. I'm just like, I'm pretty fucking tired of hearing that answer.
I don't like that.
It's the same thing. Like how upset I was at Paul Ryan. Well, I mean, just generally, I'm in like a fervent rage about what's going on. But I mean, specifically when he was just like, you got to understand that Trump's new to this. So he's not going to have it's like, you let him be president.
You encourage this.
You okayed that.
And by the way.
And not only that, every single one of you people, Paul Ryan, McConnell, just down the line, just go through all the notable Republicans. We're all saying that Hillary Clinton cannot be president.
She's not qualified.
She's not qualified. She's going to be a dangerous precedent. How are you going to let somebody be president if they're under FBI investigation? And not saying that Hillary would have been way better, but it would have just been a different kind of.
Yeah, it's the hypocrisy. It's not Hillary would be better or even different, but it's the hypocrisy of saying that and then defending the guy who is in fact under investigation.
Okay, so I think my number one problem these days, just generally speaking, with the politics of now, is that Democrats will say like, oh man, I wish we could go back to Obama. Like, it was so great during Obama. Everything was wonderful. And I'm just like, no, it wasn't. No. It was all right, but it wasn't. I wouldn't.
Better than what it is now.
There were good moments.
Yeah.
There were reasons to be happy. There were also reasons to be very concerned. And I hate getting in arguments with Republicans who hate Obama, because they'll say things that are patently untrue when there are many things to get on Obama's case about.
Right. That are actually true and accurate. Yeah.
Like I remember, I got in an argument with someone who's like, Obama's trying to destroy this country from the inside. I'm like, not the right argument. If you want to say that Obama is killing thousands upon thousands of innocent people overseas,
accurate.
That's a point.
Yes.
That's a
bomb dropped every 20 minutes.
Point. Yeah. If you want to say that he has been putting the national debt into outrageous levels of financial instability, accurate point.
Yes.
If you want to say that him and Al Franken have decided to create a secret club where they decide what happens with every single, little issue that comes up across the world, no, that's not accurate. No. Don't stop listening to InfoWars.
And guys, please stop listening to InfoWars. Let's not encourage this anymore. It's gone too far already, guys. We need to back off of this. Although I am glad that Alex Jones, in his last bit of trying to be famous, is going to ruin Megyn Kelly.
Yeah.
And her try to escape from Fox News.
Yeah.
Because fuck you, Megyn Kelly. But so I do want to talk about one other topic before we get out of here this week.
Okay.
This week it was announced that Amazon was going to buy Whole Foods.
Mm-hmm.
And this may be the greatest move by Jeff Bezos yet. Other than the building of the largest atomic clock in the world, which is going to be accurate and run for the next million. Like, it will run until the Earth is destroyed.
Yeah.
And it'll still be accurate, which I
Thanks,
love.
Paul Ryan.
Yeah. Well, that's going to come sooner rather than later. But so Amazon has essentially driven the brick and mortar store to the point of destruction.
Mm-hmm.
And then they find a brick and mortar store that has already been suffering, but almost driven themselves out of business, because there was a huge controversy last year about how things were just overpriced on purpose at Whole Foods to make it an elite grocery store and to keep the riffraff out. That was basically it. That we want to make it for wealthier people and a better class of people. So their stock plummeted, their profits plummeted, and they were on the brink of not being a functioning store anymore. So then, internet sales company buys brick and mortar sales company, and I don't think it's going to be the last one. Like, Amazon has done to brick and mortar everything what Walmart did to the small business.
Yeah.
And is this a sign that that's what Amazon's going to just take over our lives?
Okay, so here's the thing I will point at, and it sort of ties in with something that we discussed earlier with LeBron James and sort of like the tribunal of elders that would decide everything. The businesses that are succeeding far and above everyone else has figured out a way to get their costs as low as humanly possible to fractions of cents. Right. To be able to save any amount of money to be able to make as much as they possibly can.
Right.
Amazon not only sells products at the same relative price that you would find it in a store and offer you free shipping that'll bring it directly to you.
Right.
But they also pay less for that product than
the store does.
Yeah. Because they work out deals with the vendors specifically saying like, listen, we're going to be buying, way more than you're going to be selling at Kmart.
Right.
So we'd like a little bit of a cut on the price.
And everybody up the chain makes a little less money, but in the end of the chain, Amazon can sell it for less.
But when the volume increases so much, you
can guarantee that many sales.
Right.
Like I need this much profit because I don't know when my next sale is going to come. Oh, well, wait, I'll buy 50 times what you're used to. Well, we can knock 5% off then, and that makes the price all the way down the chain.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Go ahead. So,
but Walmart didn't like radically change the way that the in-store experience happened.
Right.
They just figured out how they can get the lowest cost employee, how they can get the lowest cost item,
right,
and how they can pay the least amount they possibly can for real estate,
right,
and combine all those factors along with advanced metrics and how to move product, how to physically ship things from one store to another, and to be the perception of value.
Right. And also,
if you're like, I need a rug. It doesn't need to be a nice rug. I just need a rug.
Right.
Walmart.
Combining multiple stops into one place.
Yeah.
So it's a time value as well. I don't need to go to 9 different stores.
I need socks and a rug and an entertainment center that used to have to be 3 different stops. Now I can just go to Walmart and get all 3 for less than I would.
I also need to get groceries. Like if you were throwing a party at an empty apartment, you could get everything that you needed at Walmart.
Yeah.
And that is saying something about a store. And by the way, even if you were just looking at convenience cost of saying, okay, well, you're not giving up and saying, I'll pay more to go to one place. You're also going to the place where you're going to pay less than anywhere else, and it's only one stop. But they don't have the model that Amazon had of get the price down in the same way. They
do in a way, though, because they are able to buy in bulk.
Right.
Sort of like Amazon and Walmart don't necessarily buy in bulk and then keep it somewhere. I mean, they keep a certain amount of stock, but they sort of agree to
every month we're going to buy this much.
I'm going to buy. We're going to make sure that we have 5 of these hats in every single one of our warehouses.
Right.
But those 5 hats that we have in all those warehouses is equal to 1,000 hats in total.
Yeah.
But we're going to buy 50,000 hats from you.
Right.
We're just taking 1,000 at a time.
Yep.
That's essentially the standard bearer there.
But the infrastructure cost of Walmart went.
Whereas I went to Burlington Coat Factory to just buy some clothes the other day, and they have to have downtown real estate.
Yeah.
They have to have multiple people working regardless of how busy the store is.
Right.
They have to have the inventory actually in the store.
Right.
I can't buy it and then get it in 2 days, and it's not the same thing. And then there's all these ancillary costs that go with running a brick and mortar location that is usually associated with something. I mean, there's the property tax and the rent and the electric and everything like that. Walmart buys these stores that are so far out for the most part.
Yeah, it's at the edge of town.
90% of their stores are edge of town. This is just a vacant lot that's been closed forever.
But people will come here.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But wherever we put it, they will come to it.
Right.
But
there's the one that we go to in Burbank, I'm sure is very expensive for Walmart it's much higher than their usual store.
Right.
But
It's not an ideal place for a store, though. It's
But
hard to
where
get
else?
to the store.
Where else are you going to put it? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, like you can just drop a Walmart somewhere in the valley.
And you know there is.
But you're
one.
dealing with the same thing.
There's one out in Sun Valley, but there's not a lot of places to put it in. For San Fernando Valley.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to go way out further to.
Like there's no Walmart in New York City.
Right.
Because it doesn't make financial sense for them to have one.
Yeah, it defeats the way that their models.
Yeah.
Are. But I just find it interesting that Walmart they went brick and mortar and then to the internet. Amazon went internet to brick and mortar. And I think that Amazon is going to win this battle because they have their model set up to be as profitable as possible. Now they've bought Whole Foods. Now everybody may know.
But also I would say this. Amazon, unlike almost every other business out there right now, is running on the most razor thin margins they possibly can. Okay. And they take
the most
money,
profitable business in the world.
Well, yeah, but they take the money that they earn and then put it into they take the profits that they have, allow them to buy Whole Foods.
Right.
They're not
cash,
sitting,
by the way.
Yeah, they're not sitting on a huge reserve of like excess money.
Actually, they are.
Well, they are, but they're not like Walmart.
Okay.
Who is sitting on billions upon billions upon billions of dollars
of real estate.
Yeah. And money, just cash in hand, in the bank kind of thing. I mean, you know, it might be diverted into offshore accounts and stuff like that, but they have tens of billions of dollars just sitting in a war chest, essentially.
But it doesn't matter.
Amazon runs much closer to zero, especially when they're considering that they're going to make a purchase.
But it doesn't matter if you have a good working model.
Yeah.
Now, Amazon has trying to break into the buying groceries and getting them delivered same day, or providing them a place where you can come pick them up.
Yeah.
And I think what they have done is they found a great model, which is one, they found a grocery store that already works, already has clientele. Like we said,
already has locations.
But it's all, the flaw was they tried to make it for elite people, and that is not good. That's not how you make a profit. You can make it Trader Joe's, which is the same thing, whole food or whole organic foods, but not triple the price just to make it triple the price. And I think this is what my call is, that you're going to start being able to do grocery pickup from Amazon at Whole Foods. Because they're going to set their model up to do that. Whole Foods prices are going to come down. They're going to be cheaper than Trader Joe's.
Well, not only that, Amazon was talking about opening up brick and mortar locations
to do shopping,
but they weren't doing the traditional shopping. Like you go in and you pick the things you want,
walk out,
put it in the cart and walk out.
And I think
and they charge based off of like you're scanning an item off the shelf as you take it kind of thing.
And I think that you're going to see Whole Foods start to roll that kind of stuff out. But I think that Bezos looked at it and said, why would we set up all of the infrastructure? Let's find a grocery store that's already there. That's already national, that has a reputation for being like on the edge of healthy and technologically sound and everything, and which has screwed up their own lives and are not doing a very good job of it. And let's rescue them and just implement everything we would do at that place. And I think it's going to be successful. And God, here's the thing. I love Whole Foods.
$14 billion though, by the way.
Cash.
Yeah. Cash.
Yeah.
But I mean, technically $13.7 billion, but I mean, what's $300 million between friends?
Right. But I love Whole Foods, but you can't justify, in my current situation, cannot justify a food bill that's 3 times higher just to go to Whole Foods.
Yeah.
If they can knock that down, I will be back at Whole Foods. So we'll see. We'll see what turns out from that. But my favorite meme of the week, not that we need to do this every week, but it's Jeff Sterling, I think, was the guy who put it out on Twitter. And it's like pretending to be Jeff Bezos. And he's like, hey, Alexa, remind me to buy something from Whole Foods. And then it's like, Alexa, it's like buying Whole Foods. Jeff Bezos. Shit. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I hope that that Whole Foods gets their shit together because, like I said, I do enjoy shopping there. And if imagine that you and I and Rachel could sit down here, make a shopping list, get everything together, and then go pick it up from Whole Foods, and it'd be the same cost that we would spend at the Walmart Supercenter or at Ralph's or somewhere else.
Well, not to this is something I meant to bring up. Mm-hmm. We can with the Google Home right now, order from Costco and just have it delivered for free.
Ooh.
So if somebody wants to get a Costco card,
and
we want to
Don't we have one already?
buy in bulk. I think our grandmother has one.
Works for me.
But we can buy in bulk and then just tell Google Home what we want. And then the next day it'll be delivered to us.
I do enjoy that. It'll be delivered if they can get into our building, which has more security than Fort Knox, unfortunately. So,
which is nice. Which is why I don't really care that much that people know
where we are.
Yeah.
Good luck getting in, schmucks. Even if you get past the first level of security, you can't get upstairs.
There's 8 levels of security to follow.
Yeah. You're not. Even if you breach into one zone, you can't get out of that zone, so you're out of luck.
Well, you know where you can find the healthiest stuff on the internet?
Where's that?
OhTheAnthem.com, Corey at OhTheAnthem.com, OhTheAnthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com for more information about me. My political website, foundingthefuture.us, and make sure you check out Founding Future on Twitter to follow along with those political tweets, and the news website and the books, which are available on Amazon.
By Rob's Books.
So many cameras. And look for in the coming days, we have a brand new internet project coming out. So we got to get that filmed. I was thinking about doing it today, but I don't know that I'm up for it today. So this week sometime, coming soon, a brand new offering from Oh The Anthem. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. Make sure you go to youtube.com/Oh The Anthem, where you will always be able to catch the video version of the podcast.
The edited video version.
Yep. You'll be able to find, well, not edited for content, though. Don't expect beeps. All the cursing is there. But you'll also be able to find the short films. You can find the Heretics web series. You'll be able to find the new stuff that we have coming out. Make sure you click like on any video that you watch there. Click subscribe so that you get an update anytime we post something new there. And hey, go on over and do the same thing on Facebook. Like the Facebook page, and then make sure you're clicking on those notifications. So when we go live on Saturday, you get to watch along with us. You can join us for the podcast. You can comment in the comment section. It looked like more like people were talking about things with each other, but we usually do take comments.
And if you miss anything, like if you come in and we're already halfway into Robert Mueller and you wanted to see what we talked about before, every Tuesday, unless there's YouTube problems, you will find the podcast released.
Yeah.
That's what happened this week, by the way. I exported the podcast, went to put it on YouTube, and then got it will be up in 8 hours kind of thing. Yeah. So I'm like, well, fuck.
It was...
There goes it being released at any kind of reasonable time.
You had to wait a little extra time, but you got bonused 50 minutes or so for your wait.
It was way longer than usual.
And a very good discussion. And I would really like to hear from people. Did you like the more argumentative discussion? We usually hear that they did. I know that Flash had a few interesting words for you. So let us know. You can call the listener line at 443-219-7595. Email at Corey at OhTheAnthem.com. Let us know what you think about those episodes.
Or Oh The Anthem on all your social networks.
Absolutely.
So I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you are listening to the Oh The Anthem podcast, part of the Oh The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Orioles magic, feel it happen. How do we give up 7 runs?
Because it's the Orioles.
Bye, peeps.